I think the question a whole lot of people are going to be asking around the NBA, can Brooklyn win this series without the beard? I still think they can if they're going to play and execute and perform as well as they did in game number 1. That's the key. New York, New York with Jastremski is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. They win game 1. They lose James Harden. And yet they looked absolutely unstoppable from an offensive standpoint. The ball movement I saw in game 1 against Milwaukee was nothing short of exquisite. That was a thing to behold. And listen, I'm not going to hide this. I'm rooting hard for Milwaukee. I might have had a couple of shekels on Milwaukee in game 1. I got to eat that. I got to own that. Even though I think Brooklyn's going to win the series, I just figured, all right, Milwaukee's going to get a split in one of these first 2 games. And the minute Harden went out at the end of the first quarter, I'm like, wow, my 4.5 or 3.5, whatever the hell it was sitting pretty. But the Nets were fantastic. And I think for Brooklyn, in the absence of James Harden, they have enough offensive firepower. It changes the way that they're going to do things. I don't think there's any question about it. It means Kyrie Irving, for starters, is going to handle the basketball a lot more. But listen, Kyrie has played plenty of games this year without James Harden. That's number 1. Number 2, the thing that you like for Brooklyn is that they have a bunch of different scoring options. Joe Harris is lethal from beyond the 3-point arc. Guy hit 5 threes. It's been a godsend for Brooklyn this year. How about the corpse of Blake Griffin? Giving you 18 and 14 and going 50% from the field and hitting 4 threes in the process. That is gigantic. Getting some big-time minutes out of a guy who looked totally shot at the beginning of the year. James played well. Claxton is giving him good minutes. Brown is giving him good minutes. If there's a benefit, potentially, to Brooklyn having this weird, chaotic year in which, a whole lot of guys have missed time, maybe it's the fact that these role players can give you a little bit more and are ready and able, dare I say, to go and give you a little bit more. But now it looks like Brooklyn, no Jeff Green, don't know his deal yet, and Harden's going to be out game 2. And who knows what the deal is going to be for James Harden in the remainder of this series. Lakers series should have told you something. When you got star players who are injured, timetables can be very, very tricky. Just look at Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Now, LeBron was right. As right as he could have been. Davis, on the other hand, they tried playing him. Game 6, you could tell 2-3 minutes into the game, he was totally shot. Brooklyn with a 1-0 lead, I think, is going to be cautious with Harden. I don't think you will see him in game 2. There's a good chance you don't see him in game 3. And who knows what his status may be for the remainder of this series. But I think the question a whole lot of people are going to be asking around the NBA, can Brooklyn win this series without the beard? I still think they can if they're going to play and execute and perform as well as they did in game number 1. That's the key. Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni love good old-fashioned ball movement. That ball was humming around the court. Trust me, it's tough for me to say these things. But I give credit where credit is due. Jam-packed show. See? A little positivity. Got to give somebody a little bit of love. We'll do that actually later on in the show because the Mets are doing a wonderful job. The Islanders are doing a wonderful job. There are teams in New York that are actually performing. My baseball team, on the other hand, that's a much different story. We got more voicemails coming up. We're going to welcome in an old pal of mine. We did television many moons ago on a show called The Thread on SNY. My long-lost pal, the internet sensation, worldwide wop, Rob Perez over at FanDuel. He's a media superstar. We'll get his take on what's going on in this Net Bucks series and some Knicks and the rest of the playoff landscape, which to me is wide open right now in the Western Conference. What a time to be alive. LeBron James getting ready for his dopey new movie and some new blood out west. I love it.